Hi everyone, I am Shubhi and this video is to explain the use of input box in VBA. So input box is usually used to take input from the user dynamically. Let's get started. So here we have a sheet with two columns, values and calculated values. We are going to take user input from the multiplier so that we can calculate the values in column B. So in column B, I have written a formula which is A2 multiplied by this multiplier value, which is right now 0. Okay, now let's move on to the developer tab and let's go on to the code. So here I have in a module mod input box, I have created a sub which is related to this input box. So I have declared a variable dim I value as integer, which is a variable declared as an integer. Now, whatever the value the user is going to enter in the input box when he is prompted, it is going to be stored in I value, and then I value is going to be printed on sheet1.range c2, which is actually the multiplier value here, which is grade. Okay. So how do we actually use input box? So input box is a kind of a prompt which comes up on the screen on the current window, and it asks user to enter a value. Okay. Now I'll explain you. I have already written this, but I would rewrite this for you. Okay. So I would use the function input box to take the user value. Now, the first option in this function or the first parameter in this function is the prompt, which is the line that actually tells you what the user is supposed to enter. So it is kind of a descriptive text that what user should enter in the input box. So I would write here, please enter the multiplier value. Okay. The rest of the parameters in this particular function, which is title, default, xpos, ypos, help file, context, these are all optional. So it depends whether I want to use it or not, or I would say it depends on the developer whether he wants to use it or not. So let's give a title to the input box or the prompt that the user would use to enter the value. So I would say it as multiplier value. Okay, and then this is the default text that would come up. So I would write here, enter here. The rest of the parameters which are shown up, especially the xpos and the ypos, so these are the positions on the screen where the prompt would appear on the current window. Okay, so right now we are not using these. Now when I run this code, I would get a prompt, please enter the multiplier value. I'll enter a 4 here and I'll put OK. Now when I go back to the sheet, the multiplier value is 4. It has put it on the C2 range, and the values are then calculated. Okay, now one thing that I want to show to you is that I have declared this I value as an integer. Now when I rerun this code, and I enter a string over here, say hi. Now see what happens. It would give me an error. This is because I have entered a string value. Now if I change this value to string and I am going to rerun the code. So please remember, the calculated values are not going to calculate because I'm entering a string. It would give me a hash value. Now it has given no error, but it has put in C2 a high, and of course the calculated values are a hash value. So this is not going to calculate. So I'm going to change it back to integer. And this is how we can use an input box. Now to be on the user perspective, so let's insert a shape for a button that I can assign a macro to it. So I would do edit text and I would just say input multiplier value, and I would assign the macro input box value. Okay. And now when I click on this, it shows me here, I enter a 6 here. It gives me okay, and then 6, 4 6 are 24, 5 6 are 30, and so on. So this is how we can use the input box dynamically for a user input. So if you have any questions related to this video, please put those into comments, or if there is any topic that you would like to discuss in VBA, then please feel free to put those in your comments. And thank you for watching this video. Thank you.